Today, we are diving into the world of trusts. Now, I know they can sound kind of complicated, but trust me, they're one of the most powerful tools out there for planning your estate. They offer this incredible flexibility and control that you just don't get anywhere else. So, let's find out how they work.
So let me ask you this. When you think about passing on your assets, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For almost everybody, it's a will, right? But what if I told you that for a whole lot of people, a will might not actually be the best or the most private way to do it?
Okay, let's put these side by side and see the real differences. A will, and this is the big one, has to go through something called probate. That's a court process that can be really slow, really expensive, and crucially, it makes everything a public record. And I mean anyone. Nosy neighbors, distant relatives, salespeople can look up who got what. A trust, on the other hand, is managed privately. It completely skips the probate court, which saves time and money, keeps your family's business confidential, and get this, it lets you set super detailed, ongoing instructions for how your assets are managed long after you're gone.
So, to make this whole thing really click, let's think of a trust as your own personal private delivery service for your assets. Instead of just dropping your stuff in the mail and letting the public postal service, that's our probate court, handle it, you're hiring a dedicated courier to follow your exact instructions to the letter.
So here's the formal, fancy definition, but honestly, let's just stick with our delivery analogy because it's so much easier. You're the sender. The trustee is the driver you've hired and put in charge of the delivery van. And the beneficiaries, well, they're the lucky people getting the package. And that trust document itself, that's your set of non-negotiable delivery instructions.
Every single trust has these three key players. You've got to know them. First up is the settler. That's you, the person creating the trust and putting your assets into it. You're our sender. Next, you have the trustee. This is the person, or maybe even a bank, that's responsible for managing everything according to your rules. That's our driver. And finally, the beneficiary. These are the people who get to enjoy the assets. They're the happy recipients.
All right, so how do you actually build one of these things? This might seem like the complicated part, but it really just boils down to 5 essential ingredients. Let's look at the recipe.
Here they are. It's actually pretty straightforward. First, you need clear intent. You have to actually mean to create a trust. You can't just accidentally do it. Second, you have to name a trustee to manage it. Third, there has to be some trust property. The legal term is res. You have to put something in it, like a bank account or a house. Fourth, you need definite beneficiaries. You have to be clear about who it's for. And last, the trust has to have a valid purpose, which basically means nothing illegal or against public policy. You get these 5 things right and boom, you've got a valid trust.
Now, it's really important to get this. Trusts are not a one-size-fits-all deal. Not at all. They are incredibly flexible tools that can be designed to do all sorts of different things. Think of it like a variety pack. There's a different flavor for almost any situation you can imagine.
Okay, the one you're going to hear about the most by far is the Revocable Living Trust. This is the main tool people use to avoid probate. Now, revocable is the key word here. It just means the person who created it, the settler, can change their mind, make adjustments, or even cancel the whole thing at any time while they're alive. It gives you total flexibility now and a seamless private handover of assets later.
I love this quote because it perfectly captures a really common worry, right? What if you want to leave something to someone you love, but you're a little worried they might not, be the best with money? That is the exact problem a spendthrift trust is designed to solve. It has a special clause that basically acts like a shield, protecting the assets from the beneficiary's creditors, and sometimes from the beneficiary's own spending habits. It ensures your legacy is there to support them for the long haul.
Okay, so we've talked about people, but let's switch gears to a totally different kind of beneficiary. Can you actually use a trust to make sure your beloved pet is taken care of after you're gone?
The answer is a huge, resounding yes. And this is just a perfect example of how amazingly flexible trust can be. You can create what's called an honorary trust specifically for the care of an animal. You set aside the money and you leave very clear instructions for a caretaker. For vet bills, their favorite fancy food, daily walks in the park, making sure your pet is cared for exactly the way you would.
We've covered the what and the why, but now we got to talk about the who. And this is a big one. The role of the trustee is absolutely, positively critical. This person is the guardian of the trust. They are legally bound to protect the assets and carry out your wishes. It's a huge responsibility.
So a trustee can't just wake up and do whatever they feel like. Nope. They are held to a very high legal standard called a fiduciary duty. This means they have some core, non-negotiable obligations. The duty of loyalty means no self-dealing. They have to put the beneficiary's interests first, always. So they can't sell the trust's beach house to themselves for $100. That's a huge no-no. The prudent investor rule means they have to invest the money responsibly. The duty of impartiality means they can't play favorites between beneficiaries. And the duty to account means they have to be transparent, keep everyone informed with regular reports. These rules are the guardrails that make sure the whole thing works.
You know, when you really get down to it, a trust is so much more than just a stack of legal papers. It's a way for you to provide for your loved ones, to support the causes you believe in, and to protect your legacy for generations to come. It's a reflection of what you value. So the real question isn't just if you need one, but what story you want yours to tell.